Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. It's Sovereign Saturday, y'all. Your home is your kingdom. And it might not seem like a big thing, but I was thinking about that the other day. I got a couple of pieces of art. Like, I got all these warrior pictures all over the place. I said, you know, I need some female energy up in here. So I got a couple pictures up. I was going to take the video over there, but still messing with the camera angles and stuff. So I said, I'll just do it here. But I was thinking about it because right now as I'm talking, I'm looking right at those pictures. And I'm going to tell you what. When you have a home, that is your kingdom. That's what you have control over. Now, whether you're renting that home or buying that home, it's actually better if you actually own it outright. It's better. But you still have some control over at least how the space is set up if you renting the place at the very least. Indeed, depending on the situation, maybe even a room. That's a little bit tougher. Because you're in someone's home. But if you got a place, you know, how you set it up is a reflection of you. Remember, you got absolute control over it. All you have to do, if you rent the place, all you have to do is just pay the rent. They don't say, hey, you got to have this couch bed. You might just want to sleep in there on an air mattress. Okay, but you still have control over it. But then you have control over the type of bed you have, the type of furniture you have, how you might decorate it, how everything is placed. I want y'all to think about that in terms of control. That's your space. That's your boundary. Because all men have a boundary. All men have a boundary. Is typically at the minimum 3 feet out. That's why you get some guys, they ready to fight. You get too close to some guys, they ready to fight you. And, you know, of course, women, they cross the boundaries regularly, but they only do so with your permission. Indeed, some men who are really on that boundary thing, who really extended like of their home, shoot, they ready to fight. And I've told the story when I was living in this home over in Edgewood, Maryland. And there was a period where some young guys will hop in the back white picket fence. They had a white picket fence. Anyway, they were hopping it and like taking shortcuts to get into the neighborhood. And I caught one time. And I let him know in forceful terms. One, I turned him back around and I said, look, put the word out in the neighborhood. Don't cross that old brother's home. And I said it just like that. But that's because it was my boundary. Now someone might say, oh, they ain't hurting, they ain't doing anything. No, it's my boundary. It's my boundary, it's my space and everything. I had control over it. You don't do that. And see, every man needs to have that feeling, you know? That's your kingdom right there. What you do with it is what you do with it. How you like fix it up and everything. Especially that particular home was something I was owning. So, or paying for it, I'll put it like that. So it was like, hey, I cut the grass a certain way, cleaned up a certain way and everything. That's a very important thing. That's one thing that you really want to think about. Because every man, I remember an older Muslim brother told me, and rest in peace, peace be unto him. He said every man needs a corner that he controls. Now, he had a business. He had a bookstore in the Washington, D.C. area. Those who might know, Caravan Books. In fact, I did a consultation with his son one time. And that was his space. You know, how he like set it up and everything. You know, when I've had a little book, I had a book stand one time myself. That was my space, how I set up everything. Every man needs to have that feeling, even if you have to work for someone else, you know, and many guys do. Yeah, I can talk about being an entrepreneur and everything, but you might be in some business, you might be a police officer or a fireman or something like that, paramedic, where, you know, you're working for the state, and that's admirable, but you still need that thing that you control no matter what. You know, you need to feel like this is your space. Even if you have a family, you have a big house, Many men will have like a big house, but they got that man cave specifically for that. But yeah, even though in my view, if you paying for that home, even with the family, that's your kingdom. You the alpha of that kingdom. You know, you might still want some space, just you. You can decorate it the way you want. Cause let's be real, if you married or something, or living with somebody, you got family, you got to compromise a lot. But even then, you could still say and have the final word on how you want stuff to look, because they still have to agree with you. So even then, you might, you tell your children, say, no, you can't have that up in here. You can't do that up in here, because it's your kingdom. It's very important. That's why, I've seen some men who are homeless who still exercise some control, because that boundary thing is so deep, because you want to extend your boundary. So I'm going to tell you what, I want you to think about that. If you control your main control is over yourself, but then you want to extend that out. How you decorate, how you put stuff here, how you set up, sometimes when I'm on the couch, I have a yin yami symbol that's in the back. They can see it over my head. Quite a few people have said, hey, what's that symbol? But I put it there because, this is my kingdom. That's where I want it in my kingdom. So it's very important. Like I said, I'm looking at 2 pictures. Maybe I'll take a video over there one day. Get it set up good. Just how they are for people to get a good sight. I need a kind of a high chair. But the thing is, you want to establish your kingdom, establish how you want stuff done. Like one of the things in my particular space, I don't let anybody wear shoes up in here. I don't let anybody wear shoes. I even got a little this 5 shelf shoe rack downstairs. It looks nice too, very decorative. But that's part of the rules in my kingdom. You don't wear shoes up in here. You don't wear shoes. So even when I've had some stuff that had to be put in, like the cable, the guy, I let him get away with, but he did put some over his plastic. He put some plastic over his shoes. So even he got got the best. I even had to tell him. So that's important. That's important. You want to have that mindset, because let's be real, many men don't feel like they control stuff. They don't feel like they have sovereignty over stuff. But if you have your own spot, you have sovereignty. In fact, let me extend on that, because I have talked with some young men who might not have had their own place to live. And, they might say the women didn't show any interest because they didn't have their own place. You actually have a different mindset when you got your space. Because no matter what's going on in the world, that's your space. Those are your rules in there, So somebody step in there, it's like, oh, well, take off your shoes. Take off your shoes. It's like, well, we'll take off my shoes. Well, you don't get to come in. You got the control over it as best as possible. Like I said, it's ultimately best if you own the place, you have ownership of the place. That's the best. But let's be real, a lot of guys got to work towards it. So as best as possible, if you have to rent a place, that's still your kingdom. Yeah, you got to rent it. And there's an argument, unless you own something outright, if you're paying a mortgage, you still really don't own it. You're just paying a different type of rent. There's an argument there, but you still got control there. You still got control. So anyway, your space, that's your kingdom. Honor it. You are the king of that space. You're the alpha. No matter what else is going on outside of that space, in that area, that's your space. That's your kingdom. All right? So that's all I have for right now. I will keep rising and become that sovereign man that you are meant to be. Peace and blessings.